Hi everyone, welcome to the Life of Education podcast. Today we are here with Chelsea Spackman and we're going to be talking about hydration.
Hydration and electrolytes, always a fun topic, especially in Dubai during this time of year when everybody is continually dehydrated.
Summer today and it's 41 degrees.
Yeah.
Which I think is somewhere over 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
For people in the US.
Very warm.
I think people really don't understand how hot it really does get here.
And how early it gets hot.
Yeah.
How early in the day it gets hot.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That heat is consistent for like 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got lucky with, what are we now, June? So we got lucky with May. I thought May was a bit...
Really? I thought May was unseasonably hot.
Really?
Yeah, because I arrived back.
No,
in
it's because
May.
you're visiting.
No,
That's
because
why.
I used to live here for 5 years, and I felt like May was already June weather. Like it was so much warmer in the morning than usually in May. Maybe for the last 5 years, I was just blessed with May weather.
Yeah, I don't know. So how did you get into the world of hydration? What was the inspiration to go down that route?
Well, the biggest thing that kickstarted the big debate on hydration was moving to Dubai and living here and Ramadan and everybody being dehydrated constantly. Caroline and I had a conversation. We've been doing my Pilates teacher training and she drinks how much water?
I drink a lot of water, but this is only because we have another very close friend of ours. His name is Matt, and he thinks that I'm perpetually dehydrated. So I try and drink. I try and drink about 2 to 3 liters of water, and I'm still thirsty. And I don't want to say this, but my pee's still yellow.
Right. Yeah, which means dehydration.
Yeah.
So I gave her a little packet of something called Emergency, and it's a electrolyte hydration beverage. And I said, give it a shot. Let me know how you get on with it.
So we were doing a scientific experiment.
Yeah.
I was monitoring my levels of urination.
And how did it go?
Color and everything.
Yeah, well, it was good. I can't
was
believe I'm
really
talking
good.
about this, but it was basically what I noticed was that I was drinking less and my pee wasn't like bright yet, that amber yellow.
Yeah.
And that's a bit scary because it's like I've just
How
drunk
is this
2 liters
happening?
of water. But do you know what, to be honest with you, it never happens during the day. It's when I go to sleep, I wake up and then it's like
And
that
it's there.
color.
Yeah.
So after drinking that, it wasn't that color and I peed less.
Yeah. Yeah. And you felt more focused and you felt better for it.
So for those people who don't know, why are we talking about color?
Why are we talking about color? So a lot of different things can affect. So we had this conversation when I asked her to try out the electrolyte drink. So a lot of different supplements can affect the color of your urine. But if you're not taking any supplements or you're just drinking a ton of water, your urine shouldn't be amber. Like it shouldn't. The only reason it should have some color to it is usually like a neon color. And that's usually because of supplements, because of the minerals in the supplements that will add color to your urine. But otherwise it should be a pale yellow.
A pale yellow is a sign of hydrated.
Yes.
Well, I've also read as well that like your urine you should be going to the bathroom and it should be clear. Yeah, or a very, very pale yellow.
Clear. I mean, again, if you take supplements, you're going to have some color to your urine. That's just how it is.
Why is that?
Because of the minerals in the supplements, they just give your urine color. But it should never be like a deep amber or like a dark yellow.
What is the color? What are we looking at?
Of urine?
Yeah.
What should you aim for?
What makes it... Well, we talked about that. Should be the lighter color as opposed to the darker brown. But what is brown? What makes it brown compared to what makes it yellow, compared to what makes it completely clear?
It's that you're not detoxifying enough. So you're not getting out so urea is in your urine, and if you're dehydrated, it's going to build up. So the buildup of minerals in your body that you're not clearing out with your urine, or that you're clearing out too much. So that's when urine is really, really clear, like a little too clear. So there's a very fine line between dehydration and overhydration. So if you're overly hydrated, so for you were drinking so much water that you weren't actually replenishing any of the electrolytes. So you want to have a nice balance between replenishing electrolytes that you lose while sweating, that you lose through bowel movements, that you lose through urine, that you lose throughout the day, throughout life, every day. You want to replenish those, but you don't want to replenish them so much that you can't get rid of them in a timely fashion.
So from my understanding, and you can tell me how far away I am, when you have clear urine, it means that you have enough fluid moving through your system that your body can easily flush it out. Whereas when you're not taking enough water in, your body has to produce urea to help get that water out of your system.
Yeah.
So the less, not water, to help get those fluids. That's not necessarily the H2O water, but all the other stuff that needs to be excreted. Your body creates urea, and the urea then draws and attracts those, and that's what you excrete. So the less water you have, the more your body has to create urea, the darker the urine is.
So that's, yeah.
Is that bro science?
It's pretty much there. It's
Okay.
pretty much there. But the problem is that everybody assumes that water is the key to hydration.
Sure.
And it's not. Because
So
water,
tell us the secret, Chelsea.
water doesn't have any minerals in it. So the water that you buy at the supermarket, and everything you see now is low sodium or sodium free. And sodium is an electrolyte. And you need that in your body to replenish, to keep yourself hydrated. Sodium, potassium, chloride, and bicarbonate. Those are all electrolytes that we all need. So in our world of no salt, no salt in anything, no sodium anything, take out all the minerals, let's process it and take everything away and leave it nutrient free. You need to find a way to put it back in.
And then add fluoride and chlorine.
Exactly. Yeah, to make sure that it's, really clean and stable. And then you've got nothing. So you're like Caroline, drinking all the water in the world and still not reaping any of the hydration benefits because water can't on its own replenish electrolytes.
Okay.
So you can put as much water in your body as you want, but if there's no electrolytes, you're just flushing your body of the minerals.
And you don't necessarily need to ingest the electrolytes through liquids. The electrolytes come in through your diet.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah. So those four things, so potassium, chloride, bicarbonate, and sodium are all excellent electrolytes, but I find it really simple to do, little packets. The one that I gave you has an immune booster in it.
So my next
vitamin
question,
C.
I'm curious about this because you see a lot of people drinking those sports drinks and they're really predominantly a lot of sugar. So what's the difference? And if people are looking to get hydrated, then how should they navigate that? I'm going to have a sports drink, or I'm going to have something that's just like electrolytes and not sugar.
So one of the easiest ways, that's one of the biggest problems with electrolytes, is that they so many times, like Gatorade and Powerade, they come with a huge amount of sugar. Dates are really great and full of electrolytes. So during Ramadan, when you break your fast with dates, that's a really amazing way to break your fast because it immediately puts those electrolytes back into your system. So you really just want to look for the four precursors for electrolytes. Adding a little bit of Himalayan sea salt to your water is one of the easiest ways to get electrolytes because there's no sodium in your water. So just add a little bit, not table salt because that's stripped and processed and not good, but some Himalayan sea salt. Adding a little bit of that to water can be one of the easiest ways to just get some electrolytes into your body, just to give your body a little recharge.
I remember being in Bangladesh, and they would basically teach people how to make electrolyte drinks, and it was like salt, water, and you'd heat it up, and then you'd obviously drink the
salt water concoction.
Yeah. And that was for diarrheal diseases and severe dehydration related to non-communicable diseases, but obviously off topic. They're very different.
But still, I mean, it's salt and water. Salt it's sodium. It's one of the things that our bodies absolutely need, and sodium has gotten this huge bad rap. You can't, everything has sodium in it, and you should be on a low sodium diet because it increases cholesterol, it increases fat, it increases, everything, it increases dehydration. But actually, there's a fine line with sodium, and it has to be the right kind of sodium. Get it from a good source, like Himalayan sea salt. That's an amazing source of sodium, and just adding a pinch of that to your water can do amazing things for your body.
And then what kind of foods are you looking at?
So foods, I mean, there's all kinds of different sources. I mean, leafy greens are a great way to get things into your diet. I mean, just a whole foods diet. Potassium, bananas are really high in potassium.
Yeah.
Dates are a good source, but again, these are fruits and they come with a lot of sugar. So anybody that's following, a lower carbohydrate diet or staying away from sugar because it's so addictive, they're obviously staying away from fructose as well. And they're not going to be able to use those fruit sources as, sources for electrolytes. So sometimes it's just easier to add salt to your water or buy a little package of like Emergency or NRC or Hydrate, those kind of things that aren't sweetened with sugar, that are sweetened with stevia and other natural sweeteners so that they can stay on track. But continue drinking their water, just add a little package of something to it for, like I gave you one, it was raspberry and it wasn't like super raspberry flavored. You can dilute it or you can keep it in the smaller.
It had a very interesting taste.
I mean, it wasn't, I don't know, I don't know what it would taste. How would you describe how it tasted? It's like a mild fruity
I felt
flavor.
like it was, is it Quicks? Is that it? The strawberry flavor? Like it tasted not like that, but it had a very similar like look to it.
Yeah. So it's a little something that you can add to your water. Those are really easy. The one that I choose it because it keeps me hydrated when I'm on a plane. So I traveled here from Canada and I was doing an intensive, it's just finishing up. This is my last week of my intensive Pilates training course. And I basically had absolutely no time to lose my immune system. So getting an electrolyte drink to keep me hydrated, plus has an immune booster with vitamin C, D, and E in it. That's my way forward for these kind of trips. On a daily basis, I'll just put salt in my water. That's the easiest way.
How much water would you drink a day usually?
Oh, I'd say between around 80 fluid ounces at the least.
So how much is 80 fluid ounces?
You'll have to tell me.
If you look at that bottle there, Caroline, lift that bottle up. So we got
how many fluid ounces?
Is that a litre and a half?
Yeah, it's a litre and a half.
I don't know how many fluid ounces are in a litre and a half. Do you?
Would you no, that's what I'm asking you. Would you drink a bottle that big?
Oh, I drink 2 of them,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Drink up.
Yeah.
Do you have your Himalayan salt in there?
Do you have your electrolytes in there?
Okay. So, tell her off.
Yeah. I've got some in my bag. Do you need me to go get it?
Maybe after.
Yeah.
So now you can see why Caroline is chronically dehydrated.
Dehydrated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, okay, let me explain to people a little bit about Dubai if no one knows Dubai. Dubai is very, very hot. Like in the winter it's a normal temperature, but in the summer and really from like April to October, you're talking 30s, mid to high 30s and upwards. And they can, in the middle of the desert and in cities, sometimes get to 50. Is that an over-exaggeration?
In the
or is
summer,
that
No.
in the summer?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So we're talking between 35 to 50 degrees Celsius for a period of April, May, June, July, August, September, 7 months.
You're digging yourself
That's-
into a hole here.
Why? Because
Because
I'm counting.
Now
the
you really
fingers.
have no excuse to be
Yeah, 'cause
dehydrated.
you're aware of the
you
heat.
know.
Yeah, I'm aware. But what I'm trying to say is that so if I go back to Sydney, I don't need this much water. Like I feel like I don't need to drink this much because I'm not like, it's not this hot.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is
that's
this hot where you are. How long have you been in Dubai for?
10 years. Are you two ganging up on me again?
Yes.
Like the last time with the cheese toasty?
Oh, yeah. How's your cheese toasties going?
So do you know I told you he did something really evil?
Yes.
So we were working and he brings me a cheese toasty. I was like, I'm trying.
She's a
not to.
vegetarian.
Cruel.
The place I went to pick up breakfast didn't have anything except the one thing
Cheese
I offered
toasty.
her over the phone. She said she didn't want it.
Because it has goat's cheese. I don't like goat's cheese.
Okay.
Gives me
Sorry,
the
cheese toasties
heebie-jeebies.
all it was. All she was getting.
I don't like goat's cheese either.
Thank you.
Yeah, it tastes like woolly socks.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
For anybody listening or watching, we spoke about what were we talking about? And basically, Caroline should gluten. It was
We were
what
talking
we
about celiac disease.
Yeah, celiac disease and gluten.
Yeah.
So Caroline
Gluten intolerance.
needs to come off her cheese toasty breakfast diet.
Yeah, it's not the cheese that's the problem.
It's the toasty.
It's the toasty that's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you've been doing really well.
Yeah, I failed miserably yesterday. But
Oh no.
I'm going. No,
But other than that,
I'm gonna start again on Sunday.
And at least you have a bottle of water here with you today.
Yeah.
Which is,
thanks.
Could
and
be
it looks like
worse.
it's half drank.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so you're getting there, but now you just need to add some electrolytes to it
I do.
to stay
Mhm.
hydrated. Because if you're perpetually sweating, you're working out. I mean, that's what you do.
Mhm.
You know, that's what we all do. You know, we're very physical
Yeah.
people, and in Dubai, you don't even need to work out to sweat. You can walk from
Yeah.
the apartment to the
Yeah.
car.
Well, see, that was my point. Like, I can leave here now. I can walk to my car and I can already be sweaty.
Yeah.
Or I can just sit in my car for 5 minutes before the AC actually kicks in
Yes.
and literally be damp
Yeah.
Yeah.
everywhere. And that's the problem. So I drink this and I swear it's gone by the time I get into my car because I've sweat most of it out. Yeah.
And that's so normal here. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you two a question. Like, do you guys go to bed and wake up and
Yeah.
go pee and your pee's amber?
Yeah, this is what I wanted to.
No.
Didn't want to interrupt you guys. I think no. When you talk about Dubai being so hot and everything you do, you walk outside, you get hot, you get dehydrated. When you train, you get hot, you dehydrated. But I also think overnight you get very dehydrated. Like just simply sleeping, even though your body temperature should drop for a night's sleep, most people will have the air conditioning on,
Yeah.
and it's putting cold air in the room.
But
it's
the air conditioning will help dehydrate you
Because it's dry,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it'll dry you out. So that's
And
the other thing.
Your body needs moisture.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I definitely do wake up in the morning and I'm clearly dehydrated.
Yeah.
And it's not like I've woken up and my sheets are covered in sweat.
No, it's just
It's
that
just-
the AC
Is your
on.
pee amber?
Yeah, it's dark. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. So
That makes me feel better.
my
So
habits.
we're both
You're not
dehydrated.
alone.
Yeah, but I'll bring a 2-liter bottle of water with me to work first thing in the morning, and I'll finish it in the first 2 hours. I've realized, just speaking about myself, is that I'll go through a lot of water early in the day
Mm-hmm.
because,
Kind of peter out.
and then I just get busy and I get occupied with other
Yeah.
stuff, and I don't.
And especially during Ramadan.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you're not drinking, you're being, respectful of cultural differences and religious differences, and you're not drinking in front of clients or in front of other people in the office or whatnot. And
Yeah.
Maybe for people who don't know, we can explain what Ramadan is.
Yeah.
First,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
so for 1 month every 11 months in the Muslim world, Ramadan comes in, and for that month, people fasting are required not to eat or drink during daylight hours. So as soon as the sun comes up, that's the last bit of food or drink that we can have. Really, anything, you can't put anything to your mouth. You can't have a cigarette, but focusing just on the food and drink. And then once the sun goes down, iftar comes around, and then people break their fast, which is, I'm sure, I haven't done it. I've thought about doing it, and even the thought alone, I don't know how people can do it because I'm not used to it.
I did it last year, but I didn't do all of it, and I did the no food thing up until but I couldn't do the no water thing.
dry fasting has a lot of ups and downs. If you do research on dry fasting, so that's what they do for a month. They do complete dry fasting for daylight hours. So in isolation, if you're dry fasting and let's say the temperature, so like dry fasting for Ramadan in Dubai in the wintertime is much easier on the body than dry fasting in the summer, because obviously, as we just said, Dubai is really lovely in the winter. The weather is relatively
also
normal.
the daylight's a little bit shorter.
Daylight's a little bit shorter, not a huge amount, but it's a lot easy. I mean, I say a lot. A big weight is taken off without that kind of
The heat.
40, 45, 50 degree heat. Dry fasting has been shown to have incredible effects on the body if done correctly.
What would those effects be?
It's a great way to detox your body. It's a great way to kind of bring your body back to start position. If your body can handle it. It's a great way to detox chemicals. It's a great way to get your metabolism back up. It's a great way to just kind of re-energize your body and get yourself back to kind of square one. But unfortunately, not a lot of bodies can handle it, because as soon as iftar rolls around, you want to shove your face with anything and everything that's in front of you. Like, you're not going to go for the salad because you haven't eaten all day. You're gonna go in, and you're gonna go in hard, and you haven't created digestive juices. And people don't wait for digestive juices to start flowing. You know how last time we talked about looking at food for 5 minutes and salivating, getting your digestive juices. So they're not doing that. You know, they're just going in and eating everything, and they haven't created any digestive juices, and now it's throwing off their entire digestion. Then they're up all night eating, and they sleep all day. So they're not getting, a lot of people aren't getting enough exercise. A lot of people aren't doing it properly. So and also staying hydrated in this kind of heat. You know, if you're not drinking water during the day and you're not drinking enough at night, it's going to be very difficult to do dry fasting properly and in a healthy fashion. So to be monitored.
What would you recommend? What are some tips that you would recommend for people who are fasting, and how to do dry fasting properly?
So the way to do dry fasting properly, I mean, obviously it's very individualized. You know, you want to be careful with your exercise. You know, you don't want to overexert yourself during the day and dehydrate yourself more, because obviously sweat and muscle movement is going to push you towards more dehydration. Instead of going in with food for iftar, I would say start with some broth. Broth is a really nice way to get hydration back. It's got good sodium in it, some nice bone broth. It's got good sodium in it, and it's got good minerals from the bones, really healing for your gut. And then I would go in with an electrolyte-based drink. So then I would drink water and start there, and then move into food as your digestive juices start coming back. And also when you're eating, don't drink water while you're eating food, because that slows down your digestion.
It dilutes the digestive enzymes, right?
So you want to think of your digestion as like a fire, and you know, your food as the wood on the fire. So it's a nice burning sensation, and you know, the fire needs to keep going in order to burn the wood down, which is digestion. And if you're putting water on that constantly as you're eating, you're going to dilute, you're going to take away the fire completely, and there's going to be a whole wood log fest going on there that hasn't burned down at all.
Nice analogy. Mm-hmm. So 20 minutes roughly before you eat.
Yeah.
Drink water 20 minutes, sooner, and then after. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a little sip of water. You know, I used to drink water when I was a kid all the time, or like juice or milk or whatever. You know, your mom gives you a sandwich and a glass of milk, and you finish both at the same time. That's kind of how you do it. When I first went to school for nutrition, that was one of the first things that I learned about, and all of a sudden it was like, got to train yourself to, you know, wean off of drinking water. And now I never drink water when I eat, unless I'm having something and I have like a little sip of water as I'm eating, but I don't glug water or any sort of beverage.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's not just water.
Yeah.
Wine, juice, soft drinks.
Wine. Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever it is that you drink. I drink mostly water, but you know, whatever it is that you drink with your food, try not drinking with food. That's one of the best ways to speed up your digestion and to speed up your metabolism, and to do dry fasting better, because you want your digestive juices. They haven't been working all throughout the day. So giving them something to work with gently, you know, you don't want to dilute them even more. You want to help them burn harder.
And say, for example, before people start fasting again,
Mm-hmm.
and this would be at 4 or 5 a.m., what would you recommend for them before they start that day?
Again, don't, you know, eat a huge heavy meal. And don't eat something that's hugely carbohydrate based, because it'll push you really far with sugars. It'll give you that big, like, I'm good for the day, but it'll drop you in no time. So you want to eat something that's nice protein based, something that's good protein and fat based, nothing too big, a nice small light meal, so that you don't feel the pangs of starvation, you know, halfway through the day, because that's the worst part of dry fasting, is, as I'm sure you found when you were doing it.
I did a fluid fast.
Okay.
And it lasted, like, I think I did 2 weeks of Ramadan, but I've fasted for long periods of time before, but always with fluids. I find it really hard not to drink water.
It is. It is hard.
the thing about Ramadan also, which I think gets overlooked, is that people don't sleep very well overnight
No.
because of the requirement to
Prayers.
pray.
Mhm.
So it's not like you can just go to sleep all night, wake
It's
up.
very disruptive.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening. So
Yeah.
at some point, what a lot of people do is they tend to go to sleep in the middle of the day.
Mhm.
Maybe to pass some time. I don't know. I'm not speaking for anybody here, but maybe to pass some time, or also because they didn't sleep overnight.
Mhm.
But a lot of the social events obviously happen late into
At
the
night.
night.
Yeah.
So people are eating meals. They're trying to cram in their meals and their sleep in this
In
short
one night.
window of time, and their prayer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. Like I always find it a little bit not strange, because if you have the information, you should share it. But when people who don't fast,
Mhm.
when Westerners like me
Mhm.
come in and start telling people, okay, this is what you should do during Ramadan, bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
It's like, firstly, these people have been doing it for a long time.
Oh, and that's the other thing is genetic
Yeah.
predisposition.
And cultural, you learn from your parents, they learn
Yeah.
from their parents. This is what we do, this is what we do, this is... I think some people do get it wrong, in the sense where some people just can't resist and they gorge at iftar.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people who I train who don't. They
Yeah.
train just before iftar, then at just 7:15 in that window, they'll have a little bit of drink, they'll have some soup, and they have to wait because
Yeah.
they're not able to sit and eat, because potentially what you're discussing about the stomach juices not being ready.
Mhm.
And then they go and then they eat, and then they sleep all night. Well, they pray when they have to, they sleep, and then they just have one other meal in the morning.
Yeah.
And they're just, I don't think that it's a breakfast meal. I think it's like they're just trying to get food. Yeah,
Something.
yeah, get some food into them.
Yeah.
It doesn't represent breakfast, breakfast. It's almost
Yeah.
pre-fast.
Pre-fast.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
People always come across the Ramadan time of year. Some people think this is the time where they're going to lose weight. If I just fast, if I don't eat, I'm going to lose weight. If I do this, if I this time, I'm really gonna try, knuckle down, sort my diet out, and then when iftar comes around and the meals that they cram in, the lack of sleep, the health goes down. So coming out of Ramadan, coming the Eid weekend, people travel with their families,
Yeah.
all bets are off, and then the subsequent summer holidays are quite hot here in Dubai right now. Ramadan's in summer.
Definitely.
It moves forward every year, but for what would your recommendations be for people generally, starting with, say, after the Ramadan period? How do they get back on track? And then, yeah, let's start with that.
I would just say hydrate. I mean, get some electrolytes. That's one of the best ways. Again, bone broth is super healing. So, and I know that the Muslim culture, they love bone broth, and so many iftars have bone broth, which is incredible. That's such a good healing food. Obviously, do you eat fish? No, you don't eat fish, so you can't have any kind of bone broth. You are missing out.
I know, we've had this discussion before.
You're missing out big time.
I know.
So healing.
I know.
But that's one of the best things. Again, it's got sodium in it, from the bones, and you can add some nice Himalayan salt. So, and the bones, because bones already have the minerals in it, they've got good minerals in them. So when you stew bones, you're getting those minerals put back into you, which is just incredible.
And is there any long-term, well, let's not say long-term, let's say short to medium-term side effects, like as a result of fasting for a whole month in the daytime, not eating, not drinking? Like what health, not side effects, what health effects does that have on your digestive system, your enzymes, or your hormone production?
I mean, it's hard to say because it depends how well you do it. So worst case scenario, it's going to throw your hormones completely out of whack. It's going to throw your focus. It's going to throw your metabolism. It's going to throw your body's production of natural minerals out of whack. Everything. It's going to just completely throw you off if it's done in a terrible way. It's going to take you... it's going to take you a while to kind of come back from that.
So just describe what that terrible way would be, just connected to.
You're going to have lack of focus. You're going to have You might experience hair loss because of your hormones. You might experience weight gain because of your hormones. You might experience weight loss because of your hormones. There's really no individual, this is exactly what you need to look for. And especially with dehydration, overhydration. So when you drink too much water and too many electrolytes, there's a very fine line between overhydration and dehydration, and their symptoms are incredibly similar.
Really?
And that's kind of the problem. So you really want to monitor and know pay attention to what you're eating, what minerals you're taking in, what your water has in it, how much sodium. You don't need to keep track and keep a journal and write everything, keep track of all the numbers, but pay attention to your life, pay attention to your diet, pay attention to your body and how you feel, because one of the biggest symptoms of dehydration is diarrhea. One of the biggest symptoms of overhydration is diarrhea. Mm-hmm. So you really need to know what you're giving yourself and which end of the spectrum you're on, because only you can tell in your own body how you feel. Dizziness, seizures are a cause of dehydration.
Are a cause?
Sorry, not a cause. They are an effect of dehydration.
A symptom. They can be a symptom.
Yeah. So, there's tons of different, but, seizures can also be, I have epilepsy. So seizures can come from epilepsy. They can come from non-epileptic seizures. But one of the biggest things for non-epileptic seizures is dehydration. And a lot of people get misdiagnosed. So but they're not specific to, this is the only symptom of dehydration. So it's really difficult to pinpoint, but knowing where you live, like as you said, being back in Australia, you feel like you don't need as much water. Pay attention to where you are in the world, what your day looks like, what your sweat looks like. Some people sweat all over. Some people are face sweaters, where they, you can just see the sweat running down their face. Some people don't sweat hardly at all. You can just see it on their back. Get to know your body. Yeah. Get to know what your limits are. Some people are athletes and they sweat for a living. They get paid to sweat.
I do always think sometimes in the gym, everybody's working hard. Everybody has completely different shaped sweat patches.
Yeah.
This could just be a weird thing that I've noticed, but
it is a slightly weird thing.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
I've noticed it
because I'm sweating and you're sweating and you sweat from there. I'm sweat from over here. That's a bit strange.
Yeah.
How do people know when they're dehydrated without checking the bathroom?
Without checking the bathroom, I would just say, is your mouth dry?
Because most people would just be like, I'm always thirsty.
Yeah. But they're probably not drinking electrolytes.
And don't they say, right, maybe this is just a meme, but don't they say that when you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It is.
Most
people are dehydrated. Now, most people aren't dehydrated to the point of having seizures or to having, life-changing effects from it, But most people are mildly dehydrated as a baseline. That's kind of where people live, in mild dehydration.
So is mild dehydration is mild dehydration the norm?
I would say so.
And is that the norm in this kind of world where unhealthy is now normal?
Yes.
Okay, so it's normal, but it's not optimal.
Exactly. You are not living your best life in mild dehydration.
I remember when I was in the UK, I was in a routine. I was in such a regular routine for about 18 months to 2 years that everything was tick, 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 tick. And when I moved to Dubai, including my hydration levels when I'd go to the bathroom.
Yeah. When
I moved to Dubai, I kept that hydration pattern up because I knew how much I already drank water, and I thought, I was obsessed with this whole lifestyle now. And then in Dubai it's going to be hotter, so I've got to continue this. And I did, and no matter how much water I drank, my urine wasn't the same colour as it was 1 month, 2 months, 3 months before in the UK.
Yeah.
I think maybe twice in almost 5 years have I got to that level through.
Yeah.
Well, have I got to that level, let's say. But I wonder, was it hydration or was it something else?
Yeah.
Well,
because those anomalies don't match up.
I think See, because I've experienced something very similar. I can never get to the same place that I was in Sydney at all. But I think here you probably just need a lot more, maybe, because it is so hot. Like in Australia, Australia's very moist. There's a lot of moisture in the air.
Same
Here,
in Ireland.
yeah, here
and
it's
UK.
like an oven. It's dry heat. Everything's like very, very dry. But yeah, that's all I was going to say. Sorry.
But it's one of those things that when you think about how much water, like let's just get real. How many times do we pee during the day?
I would
Like
probably do
try to keep track.
maybe 3 or 4, but I consciously drink a lot of water.
That's it,
Like-
3 or 4?
like
Oh,
I'll
I would say more than that.
See, like I wake up and I have a green tea.
Mhm.
So I have about 2 green teas before I leave the house.
Yeah.
And I try and do one of these the
Mhm.
first half of the day and one of them the second half of the day.
Yeah.
So it's 3 liters. And then I have a coffee and probably another green tea when I go to bed.
Yeah. So how many times a day would you pee?
Like a lot. It
Yeah.
depends. Yeah, I go to the bathroom a lot.
Is the amount of visits to the bathroom, like what's the volume?
Well, so that was our test. So when I gave Caroline the electrolyte drink, I said, "Tell me if you pee less," because water is going to go from point A to point B in your body and leave. That's what water is doing. Whereas if you put electrolytes in, they're going to kind of go off to their destination, and then whatever's left is going to come out. So you'll find that you'll pee less because you're actually retaining minerals and vitamins from the electrolyte beverage, and they're going to their allocated necessary places within your system to keep you hydrated. They're being used. They're being, they're not just going from in your mouth and out in your urine, which is exactly what water does, which is why water can't hydrate you. So when people drink a lot of water, you're actually taking more out of your body. Like you're not replenishing anything. It's just going through. So it's not that water's not good for you. It's just that it's not the best for hydration. It's life. I mean, water, you have to have water. But if you want to kick your hydration level up, which most people do because most of us are dehydrated 99% of the time, mildly dehydrated, you definitely want to have something that's going to replenish the things that you're losing by drinking water, by sweating, by moving, by exercising, by, bowel movements. All of these things excrete these electrolytes and minerals that are essential for optimal performance.
Yeah. I remember when I was in school, we used to play rugby pretty seriously. We were training 7, 8, 9 times a week. One of the teachers used to comment on the fact that all the players, there was tons of kids in our year, all the players used to carry bottles of water around all day. So for me, it's kind of it's always been there as part of a sports orientated lifestyle. If I'm going out to train after school, I need water now, and so on and so on and so on. But on the days where I'm not, so kind of like gym and exercise for me is my trigger. I need to drink water, Whereas, and I think there's a lot of people in the world who also do that. They know that they're going to exercise, so they need to drink even more, like even more and more.
Yeah.
Because then probably once they have the activity on their diary, the amount of water that they drink is probably just meeting what they should drink normally. And then they're going to put themselves through a hour exercise session, use the water, whatever, dehydrate themselves. And then I think people forget to drink water after. I think the rehydration, because people are hungry, they got to have their dinner, then everything's just full. Their system is just full. But I think having a goal like having a 2-liter bottle of water on your person all day, every day, and you have to drink 2 of them. And if you haven't, then you have to stop, go to the water cooler, fill it, and just put a third of it into So what would your advice be on chugging down water because you forgot to drink water all day, or just sip on 12 glasses a day and run the risk of forgetting 8 of those glasses?
Well, I would suggest a happy medium of trying to be mindful about your water intake and also drink good quality water. So I don't know if you guys have heard of like the Berkey water filter system. Have you heard of the Berkey?
No,
Not the
but
Berkey
please
one in
tell me.
particular.
Because I got really into this a long time ago after watching I can't pronounce or remember his name properly, but it was in What the Bleep Do You Know? Do you remember? And it was about we both watched the Japanese scientist who was photographing water molecules under certain emotional situations, and the water molecules changed. And then I went down another rabbit hole looking into like researching like water, and there's this guy called Daniel Vitalis who's really, really into natural water springs and actually getting your water from the earth, directly from the earth, because it's so different to this. So different.
Yeah, for people that don't know, you can't drink tap water in Dubai. Dubai has terrible, terrible tap water. So
explain why. What's in it? What's the...
I don't know. I honestly don't know why you can't drink it here, but I've been told by every single person that you cannot drink.
Yeah.
I drink it
filtered.
sometimes.
It's not clean enough for human consumption, and that it's one of the worst things that you can do in Dubai. I don't know if it's changed since I've lived here, but when I lived here, we were not, like, we were told.
But doesn't tap water come from the desalination plant here? So I would assume that it would be like...
I'm not sure, but nobody recommends
relatively distilled. Look, I'm just talking. I don't know if this is truth at all, but I know that the majority of the water comes from desalination plants, so I'm assuming that they're heavily treated.
And maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I think potentially, I think one of the... I know, because I have a filtration system in my house, but I know that there's a lot of fluoride and a lot of chlorine in the water.
Yeah, so when I moved here, I got a Berkey water filter system. So it takes tap water and you put it in, and it's got like charcoal filters in it to filter out anything naturally. We talked about charcoal the last time I was here. So charcoal is great for absorbing toxins, and it filters that out, but it's also got mineralized rocks in the bottom of it. So it's got these two filters that filter out the water, and then it goes through these mineralized rocks to add in. So it's taken out all the toxins, but now it's added in a whole bunch of minerals, and then you pour it out and you keep it on your counter. You can get a stand for it, and that's the kind of water that I drink on a daily basis. I have it in my home in Canada, and I don't drink tap water in Canada either. I'll take the tap water, I'll put it into the Berkey system, and that's the water. So it's really mineralized, really clean, but also not just stripped. Like, it's not desalinated water now. Now we've taken out the toxins, but we've put back in the minerals, and the rocks that you get with it, you just have to boil every 3 months, I think, to kind of reactivate them and clean them up from all the water, the other water going through them. And you put them back in the filter, you put the water back in, and you start again. And that's the Berkey system, and I would highly recommend the Berkey water system.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago as well, I looked into oxygenating water. You can get oxygen filters where you put them in and they actually oxygenate the water, and then you drink like highly oxygenated water.
I don't know if that's a thing. I don't have enough research on that one, on oxygenated water. I don't know if there have been like big results or anything with it, but it's interesting how many things revolve around water.
Caroline would spend a lot of money on her water.
Yeah, he was making fun of me. Don't. Go
spend
do
a
it.
lot of money on water supplements.
I'll tell you, look, when you have an accident and you almost die and you just want to do everything that you can to help your body heal itself.
Absolutely.
Like, I was doing everything. So I would come and see Keith with this glass bottle that had these mineral stones that cost a lot of money at the bottom, and then I would fill them with stuff. So sometimes I was drinking like water and charcoal. Don't laugh. Sometimes it was like swamp water with like chlorella and spirulina, and
chlorophyll.
So I was putting chlorophyll. I was putting lots and lots of different things in my water.
To help detox your body.
I'm into, so I put reishi mushroom, Lugo solution, and apple cider vinegar just to make it taste better. So lots of different things.
Interesting. Apple cider vinegar is great for digestion.
Yeah.
So that's a nice thing. You're kind of burning your internal flames.
Thing is, though, at that stage she was drinking the water.
Yeah.
That's what it took for her to drink water, and then she passed that phase.
Well, do you know, I lost it. I lost the thing that I spent so much money on. I don't know where it is. He's like, how much is this? Like, this is ridiculous. You're coming in with water with stones in it. Like,
the water with stones in it was fine. It was when she put the price tag on it. I can't remember how much it was, but when she put the price tag on it,
I'm not going to tell you again.
Yeah, don't. People will.
No, seriously.
No, I'm not telling you. It was a lot.
It was a silly amount of money. Like, what? Anyway, she had her accident as her whole excuse, and
right.
we were just
That's
getting
her
her in a happy
justification.
place. Yeah,
We'll let you have it.
yeah.
He's like, you got hoodwinked.
Yeah.
They saw you coming.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
girl will spend anything just trying to get
the
herself
Berkey
better.
is really good,
Mm-hmm.
and the rocks are reusable, and it's a big water filtration system. So kind of same idea, little bit extra.
This wasn't even a filtration system.
So, it's like same, different. So better
Expensive
bang for your
stones,
buck.
expensive water bottle. Yeah.
And then you lost it.
Yeah.
And the Berkey even has like a travel water bottle filter system. So they've got a little like charcoal filter that you can, I take it traveling with me, and that way I can fill up with water like anywhere in the world. You can put it in a pond and take water out of a pond, and it's got the charcoal filter in it so that you can drink literally any kind of water. So that's a really great thing to have if you're a travel person or you like camping or anything like that. You can literally have clean filtered water that isn't stripped of everything. And stay hydrated wherever you go.
It's pretty useful to have here, anyway, for sure, because a lot of the bottles that we get, a lot of the water that you get here comes from abroad. No matter what stage you get it from, it's been in some sort of plastic container on the ships, on the trucks. It's just going to be
in the heat.
Yeah, and the heat is also. They're not
let's
storing
not even
it.
get into the plastic yet.
Yeah, look, it's something I've had a conversation with one of my clients a lot. He filters his water and he has glass bottles, and he's completely in that mindset, and I think it's great, but for me, I don't have time to.
He's right though. This is toxic.
Yeah,
and so
for sure.
bad for
But
you.
there's also we also breathe toxic air. We also I put petrol in my car. I drive we're not all 100% clean, and there's certain places where I'm okay with drinking water with a small bit of plastic in it because I can at least drink all the water that I need. I don't have to not drink water because I didn't filter it or I ran out of the filter.
And that's the thing. Everybody has their line.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting to. Everyone has this. For me, I'm okay with the plastics. It's not ideal. I'm aware of it, but I might have plastics, but I don't smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Or I might have plastic, but I don't drink a lot of alcohol, or I don't eat donuts and sweets. But I have water with a little bit of plastic.
What? You don't eat donuts and sweets? I'm joking.
No, but
I just saw you this morning with a croissant.
Oh yeah, I had a croissant this morning. It's not donut or sweet.
So you're not going off of carbs then?
No, and I have carbs.
No, flat out no.
And I have carbs. Well, without going back revisiting this whole time,
just got caught right
there's I'm trying to croissants.
Threw him right under the bus.
Croissants are high in GI, but they're low in gluten, in respect to standard white bread.
Croissants.
I'm sorry, is that
butter.
your justification?
No, am I right or wrong?
No.
It's the butter, right? You're
Anyway,
talking about croissants.
let's stay on the hydration. Yeah, I was talking about my croissant, but let's stay on the hydration because I wanted to ask you about the long-term health problems with dehydration, where people just, oh yeah, I'm thirsty today, I have a little drink, and then they go through their week by week, but longer term, what kind of? Because I know that brain health suffers a lot from dehydration.
It does, but it also suffers a lot from everything else in your diet. So they haven't quite, you can't necessarily say, because now the norm is to be mildly dehydrated. The long-term health effects are exactly what we're seeing every day. There's more diseases. People are getting cancer more often. People are getting, autoimmune flare-ups, inflammation. Obesity is now a normal state in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, there are more people specifically in the United States that are obese than are underweight. And that is just, or normal weight.
Yeah.
And that is just incredible. And all of these things, they may not be directly pinpointed to dehydration, but they're certainly pinpointed to the way that we live our everyday lives now. And part of that is dehydration. So dehydration affects everything, just like your diet of preservatives and packaged foods and plastics and things like that affect everyday life and long-term health effects. The things that people should try to do is just, if nobody seems to feel like 100% every day. Everybody's kind of like, I feel good, but I don't feel great.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I get. I don't know if you get that
if
from
you're
clients.
Irish, it's I'm not too bad.
Right. Or I'm not well. People will say I'm not well. You know, that's the norm. I'm not well, but I'm not unwell.
Yeah.
But I'm not well. And dehydration is a lot to do with that. And that's one of the easiest things. Instead of take that as the first step in kind of changing your lifestyle, add a little electrolyte into your life, add a little salt to your water, add a little emergency or NRC to your drinks, stay away from sugar, and especially sugary electrolyte beverages. And you might get that little boost of energy to start doing more things to affect your health, like exercising a little bit more often or focusing a little bit better, and therefore feeling motivation to do extra things or to change extra things. It's going back to the basics. It's going back to the building blocks of health, and electrolyte and dehydration is one of them. So if you start with hydrating your body, you'll be amazed at the kind of changes, the small amount of motivation that you'll feel, the small amount of, oh, I actually feel good today. Now I'm willing to take the next step and cut sugar out of my diet or cut carbohydrates down, as opposed to trying to do the big things first and then go to the little things. Start small.
Yeah, I think with that, people need to connect. I feel better today. Take a split second and think, what have I done differently?
Yeah.
Oh, I've actually drank a lot more water the last 3 or 4 days.
Right.
So this should be my new norm.
Mhm.
Like this is now my new baseline. So this has to stay the same.
Yeah.
This has to stay like this. I have to get really, really good at drinking a lot of water.
Then move on.
Yeah, and then move
Yeah.
on. But don't just think, I don't know why I feel better today.
Yeah.
When it's the food you've been, the little change you've made makes a small difference.
Yeah.
Get good at that change and then make the next
And
little
then
change.
move on to the bigger thing. And the thing is if you can master the small changes, you'll definitely master the bigger changes. But, you don't become a marathon runner overnight.
Yeah.
You don't say, I'm going to run a 20K tomorrow.
Yeah. And if you do, you're going to get hurt.
Right? But I mean, you wouldn't recommend that. You wouldn't recommend taking that kind of, I mean, it's great you want to run a marathon, but let's, start
Yeah.
with 1K.
Yeah.
And see how you go. And then move up from there. You don't go for gold immediately because you're setting yourself up for failure. Whereas if you start with hydrating your body and you see those changes, you see the difference in your skin, you see the difference in your body composition, you see difference in your energy levels, your metabolism, headaches. I mean, so many people get headaches every day simply from dehydration. All of a sudden your headaches go away, which means that now you don't have a headache in the evening, which means you can now exercise after work. Look how that just helped you entirely. And it's just such a small change instead of just saying, well, I'm going to continue exercising just because.
Yeah.
And then you don't continue doing it because you've got such bad headaches. Whereas if you just started with hydration, everything would just fall into place.
Cool.
It's a small, manageable change.
Yeah. Amazing, Chelsea. Thank you so much for all your little hydration tips.
Of course.
Where can people find you online, and where can they link up with you?
So my website is www.merakiholisticnutrition.com, and they can find me at Meraki Holistic on Instagram.
Just spell that.
MERAKI. Trying to spell it out in my head. I wasn't expecting this. And then holistic, HOLISTIC.
Cool. Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for coming to speak to us.
Yeah, thank you so